Welcome to the broadcast. Thank you for joining. My name is John Mayfield. I'm 1 minute late and I apologize about that. Hopefully you were hanging around to join us for the Global Real Estate School live streaming from 4 to 5. We're trying to do it every Monday through Friday, or it could be 4 to 4:30. But thanks for joining. A lot of things going on out there right now. It's interesting, this will be recorded and on my YouTube channel, and who knows how many years it will be out there somewhere down the road. Somebody will be watching this, but we're in the midst of this March 2020 of the coronavirus, and a lot of people are staying home. A lot of businesses are shut down, but I wanted to try to be able to do live streaming for my students as often as possible. These are recorded. You can watch them at any time. So again, thank you. I do want to mention, I'd love for you to subscribe to my channel, so be sure and do that. Last time I checked, we were at 432 members. My goal is 100,000. Hey, you got to reach high, right? So maybe someday you're watching this and I'm already surpassed 100,000. Just remember, at one time, we were only 432. I remember when I just had a little over 100, so that's really taken off. But subscribe if you would. You can follow us on Instagram. Follow me on LinkedIn. I'm on Facebook. We're all over the place. We even have an Amazon Echo skill that you can have Alexa tell you some of the latest real estate podcasts, which I need to update right now. But I want to say thank you, welcome, and I want to get right into studying the material. So I'm going to go right over here to my computer. Actually, before I do that, let me do one quick thing here. And I need to log in very quickly here. And I'm going to move this over to this mode right here. Okay, I think we're good to go. Remember, from the YouTube channel, you can type in any questions you might have. I'm going to go back out there and I'll look for questions, so be sure and use the chat box if you're watching this live with us right now. Well, I'm going into the Missouri course. It really doesn't matter which course you are in, whether you're in Indiana, Oklahoma, South Dakota, or Kansas. If you go to the main course, what I want you to remember to do in your dashboard is I want you to close this little arrow right over here. When you close that, you're going to notice more course content down below. I'm going to close all the arrows so you can just get an idea and actually see what's all there. So you can see there's lots of course content. You have your practice exams. Many of you will have the practice course in some states if you have to take that. There's some recorded study sessions that are just a quicker way for you to get to some older content that's still very good. I cover a lot of good math and a lot of good content there. And actually, under the study sessions, I actually go through, if you want to watch me teach a chapter and get some more information, you can do that from the study session. So don't forget that. But I want us to go into the review sessions right here. One more up, review modules right here, because the review modules are unlocked. Now, what do I mean by unlocked? Remember, in the main course, you are prohibited from moving further in the course. That's just a requirement from the Real Estate Commission. They don't want a student signing up for an online course and they watch slide one and the end of the slide. They want to make sure that you're going through all of the course content, and I do too, because if you don't pass a test, it reflects on my school, and I want good pass rates. So when you're in the main course, you have to wait till I finish reading. I know some people will occasionally say, well, I read faster than you speak, and it's annoying that I can't keep going quicker. Well, I'm sorry. It's not designed for you to rush through this and get your license real quickly. You just have to be patient. Take some good notes, okay? But the main course, you have to do that, and you can't move forward. Well, when you finish chapter 1, if you go back to chapter 1 in the main course, you got to do that same stuff all over again. And I thought, well, that's not good. Maybe you just want to go into chapter 7 and look at one specific item. Well, that's what the review modules are for. So if you went into chapter 7, and for example, the other day we quit in chapter 7, we could restart or resume. Now in the main, either one of these, it's going to resume you back to the main course. But what I want you to see here is that through the menu button, I could actually, and we're on, let's just see, we're on real estate tax example. I could jump all the way down here to review card 1, or I could go all the way down and begin taking the test. I could even say, congratulations, you passed. These are unlocked. The review modules are unlocked. So I did that so that if you wanted to go in and just practice or review some things, you can jump around anywhere you want to in the review modules. Okay, hopefully that makes sense. So this is where we left off yesterday. By the way, did you notice, that was pretty cool, that it remembered where we left off, and I hit resume and it took me right here. It will do that in the main course as well. So anytime you need to log out in the middle of the course and you can't finish, just don't worry. You can always log out, come back in later in the evening or a couple hours later and go back to that chapter, and it will say, do you want to resume, real big bold letters, or down below, would you like to restart the course? So it's totally up to you. Sometimes you might want to say, I think I want to restart that. It's been a couple of days. I hope you don't wait that long. But if that's the case, then you might want to just review the course again. Okay, so let's go through here. Now I'm going to be very upfront and honest with you, and I'm going to put this on the YouTube channel. We will probably not do live streaming tomorrow or Friday. Tomorrow I have 2 webinars for associations that I'll be doing. And Friday I have 2 webinars, and I also am going to do some training for the Missouri Real Estate Commission because we're going to be doing some live CE. So I just wanted to make sure everybody was aware of that. So just to keep my voice in good shape, I probably won't be doing anything on tomorrow or Friday, okay? And we'll see how next week goes, but I offered to do some free technology training for associations around the country, and I've kind of been bombarded with that. So with this real estate tax example, you can see here the current market value of a property is $35,000. For tax purposes, it is assessed at 40% of market value, and the tax rate is $4 per 100 of assessed value. I think we actually did this one, didn't we? And this is where we were at on the tax mills, this one right here. So if the tax rate on a home was 64.5 mils and the home was assessed at 25% of its fair market value of $175,000, how much was their quarterly tax? Now, if you hit the show me button, you can see how we work this. And this is not that difficult of a problem. The first thing we did was we took 175,000 and we multiplied it times 0.25. It was assessed at 25%. That gives us 43,750. Now we multiply that by 0.0645 and we get 2,821,875. We divide that, you take this number divided by 4 is 705.47 quarterly tax. That's the key there. Now, you can also watch the video. So if you want to watch how I did this, we'll just do that real quickly. Hopefully you can see that okay. It's just a 2-minute video. So 64.5 mils, you're going to move that decimal place over, but you have to move it over 3 places. So therefore, you're going to have to make that 0.064. See that? So in that example, you can see 1 mil is 0.001. So 0.64.5 mils would be 0.0645. See how we did that? Now we just need to take the value of the home, 175,000, and we just need to multiply that times 0.25 because that's the assessed value. When we do that, and again, I like to move my decimal places over 2 places. When we do that, it gives us the assessed valuation of the home. Remember, 175,000 is the value, and it's assessed at 25%. The assessed value is 25% of the value. So 175,000 times 0.25 equals 43,750. And that number, the 43,750, is the assessed valuation. Now we're just going to multiply that times 64.5 mils. So 43,750 times 0.0645. That's going to give us our annual tax. That's the annual tax. And remember, the problem asks, what is the quarterly tax? So we just take the annual tax, $2,821.88, and we divide it by 4. Okay? So you divide it by 4 and you get the quarterly tax. All right. Now, these are linked to YouTube, so we'll switch on. So we're going to ask this question. In the assessment of property taxes, a mil is equal to what amount? Is it 0.01, 0.0001, 0.10, or 0.001? You think it's that one right there? Correct, 0.001. You have to add that extra 0 there. Now, we talked about this yesterday. Who would pay the most for a special assessment of a new sidewalk in a neighborhood? I'm going to let you read those choices there. Who would pay the most? And I'm trying to put myself on camera with you here. So who would pay the most for a special assessment of a new sidewalk in a neighborhood? A lot owner with 82 front footage, a lot owner on the corner with 90-foot front footage and 125-foot depth, a lot owner with 75-foot frontage, a lot owner with 30 yards of frontage. Well, we'd have to kind of figure out how many feet are in a yard and how many yards. But what I wanted you to be aware of is that, remember, the person who benefits the most is going to pay more taxes. So it's that corner lot. That's who's going to actually be paying more taxes. Now, which lien would take priority? Would this be a 2-year-old first deed of trust, 4-month-old mechanics lien, a 6-month-old special assessment, or a 5-month-old second deed of trust? Now remember, special assessments and real estate taxes carry the same amount of weight. A special assessment is a tax. So the correct answer would be a special assessment. Always, real estate taxes, special assessments will always take top priority. A piece of real estate contained a farmhouse, 2 barns, several tractors, and land acreage. If the mill rate was 75, it would apply to all of the above except, well, tractors are personal property. So the mill rate would apply to the land acreage, it would apply to the barns, and it would apply to the farmhouse. but it would not apply to the tractors. I'm going to go out real quick and make sure, see if we have any questions here. If you have a question, be sure and type that in. I would love to be able to answer any questions you might have. I don't see any questions. If you're watching, I'd love for you to say hi and I'll know who's out there. That would always be cool too. So I'll keep that up here. A property was assessed at 25% of market value. The rate was $5 per 1,000. If the homeowner actually paid $150 in tax, what was the total value of the property? Well, that's not fair, John. We haven't covered the taxes that way. Oh, I've reached the time limit for the quiz. See, it's on a timer too. And we didn't get to do that. So, but we're in the review modules, right? So I am going to, I see that's a little error I'm going to have to fix in the review modules there. Let's see, we did that one, and we were right here. So I have to fix that because I didn't know the timer was related to that. But anyway, it's always something, isn't it? All right, so I'm going to come over here and I'm going to stream my iPad over here so we can work this one together. There we go. We'll go to Pencil Labs and we'll go right here and we'll come over here to a clean sheet of paper. Okay, so I'm going to have to bring this over here so I can look at this real quickly. So this is interesting because it's going at it a whole different angle, isn't it? So we know that it's assessed at 25% of the market value. The rate was $5 per 1,000. So we know it's $5 per 1,000 of assessed value. Remember, of the assessed valuation. If the homeowner actually paid $150 in tax, what was the total value of the property? So they paid $150 in tax. Hope my picture's not over too much there. And I can take that off just so we can concentrate on the let's see, that's where I want to put none. There we go. Okay, so there we go. Just wanted you to be able to see this. So in this example here, I'm going to work this here for you. We're looking for the total value of the property. So the 150 is our taxes. So we're just going to work this backwards here. And the way we work that is like this. We take the we take the 150 in taxes and we're going to divide it by this number here, the $5. I'm just double checking my math because I want to. So when I divide 150 by $5, I get 30. Now we can look at the math here, working it backwards. 30 times 5 equals 150, right? So now I'm taking 150 divided by 5 equals 30. The next thing I would do is take 30 and multiply it by 1,000. And that will give me 30,000. All right? This is the assessed valuation. So if I do a T problem here, remember this time we're solving for total, or the bigger number. The part, which is always the assessed valuation, is 30,000. Now, do we know what the rate is? Yes, it's 25%. And John always says move your decimal over 2 places. And so this is going to be 0.25. Now remember, we put our math on there. What does our math tell us to do when we have one top and one bottom? It says we divide. Should have put that other. And you always put the top number in your calculator first. So I had 30 times 1,000 equals 30,000. And when I hit 30,000 divided by 0.25, I get $120,000. See that? How we did that? So that's the answer I'm going to choose, is $120,000. And when I choose that, it says correct. All right. Carr's property was assessed at $75,000. Bard's property was assessed at $92,000. Which of the following is the most correct? The ad valorem tax on Bard's property is higher than Carr's. These are always confusing for me because, you know, there's just a lot of stuff going on in there. And to me, it's always kind of confusing. So I don't know. It might be me, but I'm trying to get this up here. But I want you to read these very carefully, and you'll be able to get these. So Carr's property was assessed at $75,000. Bard's was assessed at $92,000. And remember, taxes are ad valorem or according to value. So the ad valorem on Bard's property is higher than Carr's. Well, that sounds true. The special assessment on Bard's property are higher than Carr. Well, there's nothing about special assessments mentioned. The ad valorem tax on Carr's property is higher than Bard's. On Carr's is higher than Bard's. Well, Carr's is less than Bard's, so that's not true. The special assessments on Carr, well, there's no special assessment. So, again, the ad valorem on Bard's, because it's $92,000, is going to be higher than Carr's, according to value. If you have a more expensive home, you're going to pay more taxes, okay? If Mr. Smith's semi-annual tax on his $120,000 home is $243, the tax rate $675 per 1,000 of assessed value, what is the assessment ratio? See, I give you softballs and then I throw a fast pitch at you. Well, we got to do that occasionally, right? We want to be ready for the test. Well, let's think about this now. Mr. Smith's semi-annual tax. So we've got to really pay attention here and understand that. Bring this up right here. I think I can bring this over so I'm not totally in the way. There we go. So we've got a key word in there called semi-annual. And it's $243. So I need to take 243 times 2 because semi-annuals, there's 2 of those, right? Every 6 months. So 243 times 2 equals 486. Remember, this is semi-annual. This is going to be annual tax right here. Everybody with me? Good. The tax rate is $6.75 per 1,000 of assessed value. What is the assessment ratio? Well, remember a while ago, didn't we take the 150 and divide it by the taxes? So I'm wondering, or the tax rate. So I'm wondering, couldn't we take 486 and divide it by 6.75? And that gives me 72. Now it's per 1,000. So remember, our next step was just to multiply that by 1,000. And didn't that give us 72,000? Now we just plugged all of that into our T problem. And 72,000 is the what? It's the assessed value of the home. The value of the home's 120. And remember, this is part, total, percent. This is the smaller number. And this is the bigger number. So 72,000 versus 120 for the value. So I think we ought to put 120 down here. It's the bigger number. And the 72,000's on top. It's a smaller number, the part, total. And now, what does our math tell us to do? We have 1 on top, 1 on bottom. It tells us to divide. And remember, we always put the top number in our calculator first. So 72,000 divided by 120 equals 0.60. We're solving for the rate, and if we move our decimal over, it is 60%. Now, a couple things, they're going to figure out a couple of things here. So 60%. Notice they had 6% there, but they're going to try to figure out, and that's the correct answer, they're going to try to figure out, did you take the semi-annual taxes times 2? And they're going to run the problem that way and put that answer. They're going to look at the decimals. You got to make sure you get those right. So lots of things going on in these questions, and you've got to really be able to spot those key words that can throw you off base and do some damage, okay? Another math problem. Hey, golly, this is no fun, is it? Got a few more of these. The current value of a property is $225,000, and it is assessed at 35% of its current value with an equalization factor of 1.25. What is the amount of real estate tax due if the tax rate is $3.50 per 100 of assessed value? Well, let's just take a pick because I want to show you something here. So I'm just going to pick an answer. I don't know if this is right or not. I'm hoping it's wrong, and it is incorrect because I show you, if you're incorrect, how to work the correct problem. So in this example, you can see that you take the 225,000. Remember, that's or 255,000. That's the current value of the property. And from there, you multiply it times that equalization factor. That's your first step. So 255,000 times 1.25 brings the value up to 318,750. Now we're going to multiply that times the assessment ratio, which is 0.35. 318,750 times 0.35 equals $111,562.50. Now we divide that by 100 because it's per 100, and then we multiply that times $3.50. And the answer is $3,904. So I wanted you to see that if you do get and you already know that, be sure and read that. Now, sometimes I have a link to the video where you can watch me work that out. And I encourage you to do that. It's amazing to me the number of people, not you guys, because you're great students, but previous students, that would write me and say, hey, John, how did you get that math problem? And I would go out and pull this all up my Windows. I have Parallel on my MacBook and go find the problem and look. And it's like, I'd work it for them. But right there, there's a link to a video where they could watch me work that. So I guess they missed it. But sometimes I have a link to a video there. But you can see how that was worked right there. Okay. I don't think you'll see an equalization factor problem. But if you do, you can see it's not that big of a deal. You just multiply it times the value of the property. And again, what's the equalization factor for? It's for those lower depressed economic challenged areas. They apply that equalization factor and it allows them basically to get more tax dollars because it now all of a sudden equalizes your property value at what it really should be. And that allows the county to be able to generate a fair tax. Otherwise, they're not going to get much taxes for some of those areas, and there could be a shortfall for funds. So, CAR is the local county assessor. The valuation CAR places on a property for taxation purposes is called, well, is it assessed value, market value, accruable value? We haven't talked about that. The actual value, it's the assessed value. That's what the assessor does. If you were asked what an assessment does, which answer would best fit the answer? I probably should fix that. An assessment places a value on a property for the purpose of real estate sales. That's not true. Is usually carried out by the local city council. That's not true. An assessment is the same as a competitive market analysis. That's not true. An assessment places a value on a property for the purposes of taxation. That should be the answer, and it is. And here, I need to fix that. John Smith has a property with a fair market value of $95,000 and is assessed at 50% of value. The tax rate on John's property is $55 per $1,000 of assessed value. What is the real estate tax on the property? Well, let's bring this up and take a look. So the fair market value is $95,000. That's the value. It's assessed at 50%. So basically, this is just a T problem. 95,000's on bottom. That's the value. That's the total or the bigger number. We're looking for part, which is also equivalent to the assessed value. And it's assessed at 50%. John likes me to move my decimal over 2 places, so that's 0.50. So that should be, don't try to do it in your head. Always use your calculator. $47,500. Now again, this is the assessed valuation. So we have that. The tax rate is $55 per 1,000. So we're going to divide that by 1,000 because we got to find out what that is. So when we divide it by 1,000, we get 47.50. And it's taxed at $55 per 1,000. So we multiply that times 55, and that gives us $2,612.50. So what is the value of the real estate tax? $2,612. 612. It's this one right there that you can't see very well. I think that's fixed in the main course, but I'll double check. All right. What does Uncle Pete stand for? Remember, it stands for police power, eminent domain, taxation, and escheat. Escheat is when you die without heirs, without a will, and it goes to the state. Police power is your building codes, zoning ordinances, so forth. Let me move this down a little bit. Ad valorem, according to value, just means properties that are more expensive, tax rate will be more than those that are not. So keep that in mind. I think you can, special assessments, same weight as a tax lien. What is a mill? It is 1/1000th of a dollar or 1/10 of a penny, and it's 0.001. Just add that extra zero out there. All right. So, special taxes were done, and we are at about 36 minutes and 15 seconds. So I wanted to kind of keep our sessions a little bit close or shorter, and if that's okay. Again, today's Wednesday. There will more than likely not be any live streaming tomorrow. I'll see how my voice feels, and possibly I will come out and do something kind of short, and hopefully I can. Friday, I'm almost positive I cannot, so we'll kind of play that by ear. I want to see if there are any questions here, and I'm going to fix that. All right, and let me just go out here and see if there are any questions. You're welcome, Sue. Thanks so much for mentioning that. I appreciate that. Hopefully that was helpful for you. I wanted to go slow. I know sometimes some of the people think maybe I go too fast on the math, the people who know the math, but I'm not good at math, and I want to go slow so you understand that. So thanks so much, Sue, for that kind comment. Well, listen, I'm here if you need help. Probably see you tomorrow at 4. I'm going to try to do it tomorrow at 4 o'clock. But for sure on Friday, I probably won't be able to do anything. And so have a good evening. Stay safe. You know, I went to Walmart today. I know I shouldn't have gotten out, but I did go to Walmart. My wife's she takes care of our grandson, and bless her heart, they've just kind of not been able to do anything. So I went to get a stroller so that it's so pretty out here today, and the weather's been beautiful, that she could get out and maybe start taking him for a walk. And I went to Walmart, and I tell you what, I told my wife, I said, people aren't listening to the orders. They're just like, there were so many people in there, and older people, which really kind of surprised me. I did use hand sanitizer before I went in. I used my knuckles at the debit card, and I used hand sanitizer when I came out. I rushed in and rushed out as quick as I could, but I don't know. People are not taking this real seriously in my area. I hope that I hope we get back to normal real quick. So, well, listen, thanks again. Have a great afternoon, great evening. If you're watching this 10 years from now, we had a big deal called coronavirus. You probably heard about it or remember it. And yeah, it affected the real estate business, but guess what? We're still moving forward, right? And hopefully you're looking down and saying, he only had 432 viewers at this time. And look, he's got over 100,000 now. That's what we're hoping for. So be sure and subscribe to the YouTube channel. Thanks for watching. Have a great day. Talk to you later.